Geoffrey, Seth, once again, thank you so much for agreeing to chat with Wires Crossed. Could you begin by introducing yourselves?
Sure. I'm Seth Thompson. I'm a sophomore in Saybrook, and I enjoy computer science, but I'm also interested in math.
I'm Geoffrey. I'm a sophomore in Stoneman College. I'm originally from Tokyo, Japan, and I'm of course interested in computer science, also robotics, and I play the cello too.
Real cool. So what is Yale Pulse?
Yale Pulse is a quick and easy method for Yale students to give feedback back to the YCC about any range of issues.
And the YCC basically commissioned this idea, and they wanted someone to build this app for them based on really simplicity of usability, because they, I guess, found that when they send out these traditional surveys to students, they don't get the type of feedback they're looking for. And so they wanted some really easy way to get a wider variety of student feedback.
And how quickly did it take you to make the app?
We started, from start to finish, the process was probably about a month, but we worked in short bursts of activity. So were we to do it again with a clear schedule, probably a week or so.
What challenges did you face while working on Yale Pulse, and what is the most surprising thing you discovered while working on the project?
I think the biggest challenge is just working on a software project around life at Yale and other commitments. Some of the challenges unique to the problem were having to develop a website that's usable on an iPad, an iPod Touch, or in the browser is more complicated than just a standard website, but they were all things we were able to work through.
We definitely put a lot of effort into making the interface very simple, which sometimes proved to be harder than we thought it might be. I think that the reason that we were surprised at how complicated most survey sites are, but it turns out that a survey to get feedback is not always an easy thing to design to make it usable. So we put a lot of effort into making it just a very seamless user experience.
And how soon will average Yalees be able to actually begin using the application?
I think the goal is that next fall YCC will be implementing it.
Yeah, we're going to implement some final changes over the summer and a couple additional features, and then it'll be ready to use as soon as we get back to school.
So there's recently been an explosion of student entrepreneurship at Yale. What do you think accounts for the growth in Yale's startup community, and in what ways do you think the university can support this growing community?
Well, I think that around the US there's been this kind of huge hype around the web over the last couple of years. Some call it a bubble. I mean, I think it's largely movies like The Social Network and the popularity of Facebook and other web startups that are really drawing people to this field as something they want to be involved in. At Yale, the computer science major is growing pretty rapidly in size right now, and there's a still relatively small compared to some other universities, but really growing community of people who are interested in the web and entrepreneurship, I think just because of the hype around it.
I think specifically at Yale, Yale Blue Book really showed people the interest in student-created apps, and I guess how feasible it is to do them as a university student. And then I'm sure Hack Yale has helped create the education to allow students to start projects like this.
How do you think the university could better support Yale's growing startup community?
Well, I think right now it's really all student initiative. They haven't necessarily put forward any either classes. I don't know if classes are the answer, but any sort of extracurricular funds or project developments. Although I think next year the new center that they're starting for
Center for Innovation
and Design is going to be a step in the right direction. I think in general, it's interesting that in the computer science curricula, Yale, web development is not a part of it at all. So I don't know how much that needs to change, but it might be interesting to see what sort of web classes they could offer.
I also think that the YCC is doing a great job trying to, pump some energy into this type of culture. And there are other groups like the YES and YEI which probably most people are less familiar with.
The entrepreneurial society.
Right. And I think that it's important that the YCT use its clout with the general student body to kind of try to energize this culture with the entire student body.
What's next for Yale Pulse?
Well, as we said, we're going to be working on it over the summer, getting it ready to be deployed next year. We have some cool ideas for some features we'd like to implement. You know, with something like the YCC App Challenge, it's always a struggle to just get something out the door in a short amount of time. And so we were able to do that. And now that our minimum product is done, we want to kind of build on that and add some cool new stuff that you'll be seeing next year.
And I think to build on that too, we might even consider extending it outside of the sphere of a Yale-centric polling and survey system. So that's another project.
Finally, what else are you working on?
Well, I've been involved throughout the year on a startup. I've started with two other sophomores called the T Standard, where we make and sell, design, sell, and produce T-shirts. And we're working on expanding the line to outside of Yale-centric goods.
I work at a startup based in London called Mubi. It's a social network based around classic film for film buffs, and there's also a streaming video component to the site. And we've worked on some projects in the past together too. We built something for the Yale Hackers Hackathon, which was I think in February. We built an app called Send Question in 24 hours, and it's basically a SMS-based polling app where you can put a question up online and anyone can vote from their cell phone. And we have some ideas for things we want to work on this summer together.
Yeah. This is a little bit out there, but our next project has something to do with recreating the sort of social and experience of Tamagotchi. You might remember the pocket pets from you. So it's very still in the planning stages right now.
Yeah. You have a lot of fun ideas.
Yeah. Well, we're really excited to see what you come up with. Seth, Geoffrey, thanks once again for chatting with my class.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.